So why English has become the global language? Yeah, I have hints uh, a little bit, that is for in the previous section of our class, that in the all aspects of human knowledge that been initiated by the British dignitaries and by the British and the English people, they initiated such kind of knowledge in human phenomena. And for this reason, English has become the global language. And how and in which way English people contributed to the axis of knowledge. Now, in this part, we will be discussing that English language has become the global language. By the beginning of the 19th century, Britain had become the world's leading industrial and the trading nation. So towards the end of the 18th century, that means English people become successful of spreading colonies all over the world. But after that, in the 19th century, the glorious revolution that is called industrial revolution, and that industrial revolution and the trading revolution that initiated from the English land, the Britain. And its population of 5 million in 1700 years, more than doubled by 1800, by 18,000 years, 1800 years. And during the century, no country could equal its economic growth, and the gross national product rising on average at 2% a year. So actually, when, in which way, and why people will rush to another country? We live in a country where the economic rate and the gross national product is not very rich. And for this reason, we people try to move to the other countries. That means in UK, USA, China, Japan, Malaysia, these countries we want to go. But that scenario is created by Britain in 19th century, and in 18th century, towards the beginning of 18th century, within the 100 years, nearly the people of Britain became doubled. That means the people all over the world was fascinated by the industrial revolution and the trading revolution that was initiated in and from England or Britain. Okay. And even, you know, that a little bit anecdote here, there I can add that the day before yesterday, that the water filter of my home here, that was out of water. So I make a phone call, I get a germ kit for the purity water filter or others. But at present, you see, if you visit London, that in everywhere, in one single portion, that if we move the tap in left side, that will you will get hot water that will be usable for the purpose of your washing or some other purpose. And if you move the tap to the right hand side, it will get the cold water, and that is drinkable, and drinkable in such a way that the people of England, any people wouldn't dare to mix anything negative to human health to the food product. And if they do so, they have to pay as much as fine that they didn't think of putting law product to the human foods and the beverage or other things. That is the scenario. So I am using this situation, and in such a relation, that in 18th century, in the 19th century, England, the people of Britain created such kind of initiative, that the people and the growth rate and the economy of Britain that was flourished. And for this reason, lots of the people from the other parts of the world and the scholars especially, they moved their country, they moved from their country and they went to Britain. Most of the innovation of the Industrial Revolution, আমরা যেটা বলে থাকি যে সভ্যতা শুরু হয়েছে চাকা দিয়ে, সেই চাকা যেটা মানুষ আগে সমুদ্র পথে যাত্রা শুরু করতো, এজন্য যে জায়গাগুলোতে সমুদ্রের লিঙ্কেজ ছিল না, সেই জায়গাগুলোতে ব্রিটিশরা যেতে পারলো না। কিন্তু যখন at the beginning of the 19th century, when the Industrial Revolution occurred, then the British people started their revolutionary invention relating to industry and the trading business all over the world. And the harness that the harnessing of coal, water, and the steam to drive heavy machinery, and the developments of the new materials, the techniques and the equipments in a wide range of manufacturing industries, and the emergence of new means of transportation. So the British people, they initiated uh, uh, such kind of technology, that is the coal industry, water and the steam engine, drive heavy machinery, and the development of new materials, equipments, and the wide range of manufacturing industry, and the emergence of the new means of transportation. So everything we see that was initiated by the British technology and the British industrial revolution and the British trading revolution, we'd see, especially for the invention of a steam engine, invention of the water engine, invention of the coal that can be used as a fuel instead of other fuel used in machinery. By 1800, the chief growth areas, the textile and the mining, were producing a range of manufactured goods for export, which led the Britain being called the workshop of the world. So, initiating for the industrial revolution at that time, Britain had been called the workshop of the world. And the names, as you see, Thomas Newcomen, steam engine; James Watt, steam engine; Matthew Boulton, double active rotative engine, that means used in train; Richard Trevely, Cornwall, England, first high pressure steam engine; George Stephenson, father of railways, British; Charles Wheatstone, English scientist and the inventor of the many scientific breakthroughs of the Victorian era, and included the English criterion and the stereotype and the Playfair cipher. So all these inventors were directly or indirectly from Britain. Directly, that means they're the British origin, or indirectly, in which way? They said that either they were born in Italy, but they developed their pattern in England or in London. Michael Faraday, electricity, London. Humphrey Davy, the chemist, several chemical elements, sodium and the potassium and the minor safety lamp. Thomas Telford, Scottish civil engineer and the architect, and the stone mansion and the road, bridge and the canal builder. Canal, that means most of the part of the England. This is the not the, what should I say, plain land. It is very hilly land. But in such a hilly water, they invent some canals, and you would be astonished to see that in those canals they will easily be they would easily can communicate with that canals. So they invented the canal earlier in their situations. So that was the manufacturing industry, that was the technological industry initiated from Britain. Henry Bessemer, English inventor whose steel making process would become the most important techniques of making steel in the 19th century for almost 100 years, in 1856 to 900 years. So this reflects the British achievement of this time. And for this reason, the linguistic consequence of these achievements were far-reaching. So, okay, anybody can ask me that, yeah, they invented some machinery, but in which way it is related to the global English? Yes, that linguistic consequence of this invention is far-reaching, that resulted in making English as the global language. The new technology or the technological and the scientific advance had an immediate impact on the language, adding tens of the thousands of words to the English lexicon. So when they invented a machine, they would write a name. And when they will use the name of a machine, then that word will be included to the English dictionary. And when that machine will be transported to other parts of the world, so this English word also will also be transported to the other parts of this world. Look here, if you purchase a fridge, there is a what should I say? There is a leaflet within the fridge how you can use this fridge. Okay, so when a fridge will be invented by a Bangladeshi company, the language, that means in which way you have to fix the fridge, that would be written in Bengali. But this technological advancement and all the technological equipments were invented by the British people. So the replica and the process that how to use this technology that were in English. So in such a way, English language is spread all over the world. So that is the scenario. The civil engineer Marc Isambard Bunel was born in France, but fled the revolution to the USA and before moving to England in 1999. William Simons, the steel manufacturer, was born in Prussia and settled in London in 1802. The Guglielmo Marconi was born in Italy. Marconi, born in Italy, though his mother was Irish, and was received a little encouragement there for his experiment, and from 1896 worked in London. So what I have said, that many of them were born and brought up in England, and they introduced their machinery and the knowledge in case of the Industrial Revolution. And many of them were not in England, but they are not comfortable in their country. So they moved to England and London and started their technological investment. So for the cause of the Industrial Revolution, we see that many of the scientists, they moved to England and they established their patent in England. When an American research is added to the British, it is possible to suggest that about half of the influential scientific and the technological output in this period between 1750 to 1900 would have been written in English. So the situation, as we see, that the scientists and the technological inventor who initiated Industrial Revolution in that time, they were either from America or from Britain. So the brochure, so the technological guidelines that had been written in English. In this way, English language is spread all over the world. And we find that 45% of the people of this period were working routinely in English language environment. And several more were collaborating with English speaking scholars. So this is the scenario of this time. The nature of the Industrial Revolution would have been very different if it had not been supported by the developments which made the new knowledge widely available. Indeed, some of the technology was itself critical in helping the dimension of the ideas. In particular, steam technology, revolutionary printing, enabling the industry of the high-speed rotatory speed in linotype, and the mass of publication in English, and also for the cause of the public press. That means the William Caxton, he also established the printing machine, and for this reason, the printing press, they published many books, they were written in English. And in the innovation of made the impact on America, and the count of exploratory material in the English language increased dramatically. So after the publication, after the invention of the publishing house and the printing press, also the technology and English book publishing were increased in that situation. So access to new knowledge also much helped by the progress of transportation. So as we have mentioned, that in case of the railway, in 1815, it took 4 days to news of the Britain to Waterloo to reach London. But in 1815, news from Gallipoli campaign in the Darnell was arriving by the hour. যেটা 1815 সালে 4 দিন লাগতো, সেটা 1915 সালে এসে হচ্ছে 1 ঘন্টা। So in case of the communication, they also improved. The Standard Oil was also one of the several giant organizations to emerge in the USA during the later decades of the century. So nurtured by the huge natural resources of the country and the demands of this rapidly growing population. And there was the newspaper empire of the William Randolph Hearst, part of the manufacturing, banking, and the transportation empire of the financier, joined Plymouth Morgan. And by the turn of the century, his banking house had become one of the world's most powerful financial institution. So in this way, the technology and the financial institution and the financial organization, that is Standard Oil in the USA, they had been developed either in USA or in England. So in such a way, English language is spread all over the world. In 1914, Britain and the USA were together investing over 4,500 pounds, 1,000 million abroad. There are times as much as finance, almost 4 times as much as Germany. So England and USA, they invest so many in the world investor. So that is nearly 4 times of the German investment. The resulting, the economic imperialism. So that means as economic imperialism, it means most probably you have understood that idea. That means sometimes dominate a country giving some money. So the World Bank gives some money, and in such a way, the country has to follow the instruction of the World Bank. That is called economic imperialism. So direct to rule a country indirectly by giving it some money. In such a way, the USA and the UK, that is the English-speaking country, they dominate to the knowledge. They invested much for the development of the other countries. In this way, they dominate the countries. That can also be called the economic imperialism. But our concern, the English language. When a technology was sent to other countries, so the using guidelines and everything, and the new words that is also been included to the English dictionary, and that is also spreaded for the technological advancement towards the other parts of this world. In such a way, English language became the global language for many of the scientists. They were born and brought up either in London, or they came to London to initiate their invention, to invent their invention in English language, in English country. And though in this way, English language got advantage of having its status as a global language. And for the cause of monetary investment, as we have said, that some economic organization, for the cause of the industrial evolution, the economic organization all over the world also established in USA. And that establishment also done for the cause of that economic settlement also helped spreading English language all over the world. And if the metaphor money talks has a meaning at all, and those were the days when it was seldom shouting loudly, and the language in which it was shouting was chiefly English. So the metaphor is that যে টাকায় কথা বলে, যদি টাকায় কথা বলে, যদি এইরকম হয়, তাহলে সেই সময় ঊনবিংশ শতাব্দীর শুরুতে এবং মাঝামাঝি সময় মানি আসলে চিৎকার করতো, শুধু কথা বলতো না। এবং কোন ভাষায় চিৎকার করতো? সেই ভাষাটা ছিল ইংরেজি। And for this reason, the money talks at that time, money had been shouting, and shouting in which language? And that shouting had been done in English language. And for this reason, English language became the world language and gained its position in a firm ground, because for the industrial revolution and the technological investment done by either by British people or the American people, and the economic organization and the economy and the world investment, everything was done by the people living in either USA and the UK. And for this reason, the technology was spread all over the world, and with the technology, English language also spread all over the world. And when you will be using a technology, and this technology was invented in English land, then you are bound. That means you don't have a way to use other language to use this technology. So you have to use this technology in English language. In such a way, English language has gained its status, that is uh, the global language and the world language that can be called the English language, and still it is prevalent. So thank you very much for attending the class.